Good morning, guys. What's going on? News today, we have Jolt's job openings at 10 o'clock, and then, of course, FOMC tomorrow. So today might kind of be choppy and kind of feeling the effects of what's to come tomorrow. All right, let's mark off our overnight levels. We're kind of sitting at London low right now, so I'm not going to mark off that one. Doesn't make sense. And then let's see what we got going for ES. Did I mark off yesterday's low correctly? That's weird that NQ is above previous day low and ES is below it. No, I didn't mark it off right. This is previous day low down here. There we go. That makes more sense. Okay. That's why I didn't update these levels on ES yesterday. That's okay. I'll just get previous day high and low levels real quick, and then overnights. Both ES and NQ are stuck at that previous week value area high. That was kind of the high for both of them last night. I'll go ahead and not mark off that level then, just because it would be at the exact same spot that I already have a line, an area of interest anyway. Just for an area of interest. All right, let's look at yesterday's session volume profile levels, since I didn't mark those off correctly yesterday. All right, cool. What indicator do I use for levels? So the one that I was just marking off, that was the session volume profile, SVP. It just marks off, it helps me mark off the value areas for the previous day session. And it kind of just helps to see the overall trend. Like if we're above yesterday's value areas, then typically we can look for longs. If we're below yesterday's value areas, we can look for shorts. As a generalization, obviously there's a lot more components to it than that. All right, so the game plan I kind of put together last night for NQ was that I was watching this 600 level, because that was a pretty significant level towards the end of last week and yesterday. It's been holding up pretty well. So if we kind of hold right where we're at right now, possibly could get some volume or a move up, but it's looking a little bit droopy. So I don't know about that. If it drops below the 600 level where we're at right now, it could come down to previous day low, maybe a little liquidity grab, and then move back up. But the red scenario, if it starts to drop below that and stay heavy and kind of hold that as resistance, further downside I have like 25,400-ish. Not expecting a huge move today. I'm kind of thinking some choppiness and maybe waiting for tomorrow to be the real move. For the volume profile, taking trades off of high volume nodes, I do that on the higher time frame. I don't typically use the session volume profile for the entries. I'll use them as targets. So if I've already found an entry, I'll scale out based on the current session volume profile if I'm trading later in the session. But these gray shaded boxes, those are higher time. I don't know why the sound would be bad. I have a microphone and it's right up in front of me. I've never had issues with the sound being bad. That's weird. All right, we got about 1 minute till the market opens. Let's see how it goes. Kind of getting a little bounce here down at value area low from yesterday and previous point of control, that level that I was kind of watching. Not going to be too anxious to enter anything right off the bat though. Getting a little selling pressure at the open. Like I said, this is kind of the area that I would want to hold if I'm looking for longs. If not, could see quite a bit more downside. Can you trade QQQ with prop firms? I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. At least none of the ones that I trade with. All right, NQ is coming down to previous day low. ES is not even close to previous day. So kind of makes me wonder if NQ is going to have more downside just so that they match up if that's going to happen. It's a pretty droopy open. Shorts were the way to go. All right, coming to previous day low on NQ right here. ES hasn't gone anywhere. What the heck? All right. Well, that was a pretty big bounce off of previous day low. And ES is moving up. Another morning where they are not really in sync. I don't love it when that happens. So for now, you guys, I'm just staying patient to see what happens in this area. If this level holds and then we get maybe a 15-minute opening range breakout to the upside, I might be interested in longs, but I don't want to long down here. Although ES is looking like it's going up. It's just an interesting open. When do we enter? Whenever you see a trade setup that looks good to you. Don't follow what I'm doing. All right, setting up the New York anchored VWAPs. And so far where our opening range is. We do have news coming out in about 23 minutes. So that could be part of this choppiness. Also, of course, tomorrow FOMC. So honestly, the whole day might be kind of funky like this. This is a good day to be patient and wait for a good setup. And if it doesn't happen, don't take it. And then if you do, consider sizing down a little bit. So far, so good on holding this level down here. If anyone was brave enough to take it, that was probably a nice long right there. I shouldn't say probably. It was. It's already moved up 60 points. Still kind of a choppy open though. And not in sync with ES. All right, let's do ES's anchored VWAP. Coming up to VWAP right now. And I agree, Zach, kind of the top of a support resistance zone. So if it breaks out and maybe comes back and like retests and continues and shows that this is going to be a breakout continuation, possibly find a long. Depends on the timing of it though, because again, we do have news in 20 minutes. So you don't want to be entering a trade like right before that comes. Sneaky liquidity grab. Yeah, Verisat, I chickened out on it. I guess you could say that. It came down to previous day low, but it barely wicked it. And I was thinking maybe it would come lower. And I was also watching ES. ES didn't come even close to previous day low. So I was like, well, maybe NQ will come a little bit lower. And then by the time it took off, it was too late and I was going to be chasing it. Would have been a good entry though. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? All right. Came up to VWAP, kind of pulling back a little bit. Yikes. That was a big rejection. It rejected and then held that New York anchored VWAP. This is choppy. What is our range looking like right now? 94 points so far, not too shabby. Bruh, that rejection. uh, Makes me laugh. Anyone who has kids, any moms who have kids in the chat, you've probably been called bruh. I'm not a fan. I've had several talks with my kids. Like, don't call me bruh. And they call their sister bruh. She hates it too. This is already choppy and ugly, so at this point I'll probably just wait until news in 17 minutes. See what happens. It's not looking like it wants to continue in any one direction. All right, Summer, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Yeah, I think bruh is supposed to be brother, bro, like what's up, bro? It's hard to keep up with all the new words these days. I have to look half of them up because I don't know what any of them mean. You're going to join a gym in 2026 and then quit a month later? No! Don't do that. Yeah, Gen Z lingo, I do not understand it. I have to use the dictionary for all of it. Maverick, we need to have a talk. Don't wait until January to join the gym. Do it now and don't quit. Come on, man. Beeswax? I never said barf out. Oh, you know what? I did. I remember that. None of your beeswax. Yeah, I definitely said that. Even dude, like I say dude all the time still. And that's not cool. No one says dude anymore. The futures desk, yes. I have used them before. I really like it. They have really good rules. I would recommend it if you are more of an advanced trader, or at least have a decent strategy and you have maybe got a couple payouts under your belt, because their eval is not easy to pass. It's definitely long, but once you pass, the funded stage is awesome. Like you literally have a real brokerage account. It's not sim funded anymore. And you can treat it like it's your own money, like daily payouts, all that stuff. So the futures desk is pretty cool. Asia and London. So Asia is at 6 p.m. when the market opens back up. Tokyo, I believe, is when more volatility comes during Asia, and that's at 8 p.m. Eastern. Sorry, I'm Central Time, so I'm converting it in my head. And then London is 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. I hope you're joking. Take note, Marvel. You go to the gym every day, but you don't go in. Oh, goodness. That's funny. All right, our 15-minute opening range is set at this point, but we're kind of just chopping around in the middle. Market's waiting for news, I'm guessing. Verisat got in long. Look at you. Yeah, I like where we're at for longs. I just don't like the choppiness of it and the volatility possibly coming up with the jolts in 11 minutes. I learned something new today. London participates in daylight savings time, so it starts at 4 a.m. Eastern. Good to know. I'm asleep at that time, so I don't keep up with that. But I had no idea that London did daylight savings time. I thought it was only the US who had such a silly thing that they did. I think it's silly. How do you keep track of the news times and keep track? I use Financial Juice. It's a free website. And on the left side, it'll tell you all the news. And I usually filter it to the red folder news, just because if you leave it on the standard settings, there's so many things and it kind of gets noisy. And a lot of the things that are listed don't really affect the markets that much. So I filter it to red folder. You can also do, so that's financialjuice.com. You can also go to forexfactory.com and it gives pretty much the same information, just whichever one you prefer. Well, ES is breaking outside of the 15-minute high. NQ still chopping around in the middle a little bit. Should we wait for the news and then F it? Just like all in? Whichever direction it heads after the news, just full on, full steam ahead. Shez is in the chat. Good morning. Welcome back. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can trade news with Tradeify. Lucid allows it to. Yeah, TPT does not allow news, and they actually like fail your account because of it. It's not just a warning. A lot of prop firms I've traded with, they just kind of warn you. But TPT, I'm pretty sure it's just a straight up failure. All right, all you crazy people gonna be betting on the news? That's all you. Not financial advice. Yeah, I think that's part of my hesitation. Obviously, the news in 7 minutes, but the fact that ES and NQ just don't look alike. One doesn't look like the other. I mean, I would like to think that NQ is going to follow along because it is at a level that I think is going to be support. But this is ugly right now. So the overnight highs for ES are right up here at this previous week value area high at 68.68. It'll be interesting to see what happens there, if there's a liquidity grab and rejection, or if it just keeps heading straight up. If NQ follows suit, though, there's a lot of room to the upside if it's going to hit back up to the overnight highs. It's 120 points away from where we're at right now. Just got to get its act together. That cracks me up. Instant failure with TPT if you break the rules. Basically, that's the fastest thing they do. That is the truth. That's why I'm not a fan of Take Profit Trader. Two things. One, I don't like their intraday trailing drawdown that they do in the pro stage. I think that's just a way to make you fail the account. I think that's a stupid rule. But also, their customer service sucks. So that made me laugh. Your comment made me laugh. Peach, Bud, if you haven't looked into TradeDay yet, check them out. Because I know the idea of daily payouts is appealing, which obviously Tradeify just announced their daily payouts too with their select account. So either Tradeify, which it sounds like you've already looked into them, or TradeDay. TradeDay is almost identical to Take Profit Trader. They have a 5-day eval, $3,000 profit target, or whatever account size you use. That part's the exact same. And then once you hit the funded stage and you're trading for the buffer, it's still end of day. They don't switch it to intraday. So, like I said, almost identical to TPT, but stays end of day the whole time. So check them out. All right, you guys, news in 2 minutes. I hope it's not one of those dud news releases that, like, we've been waiting for 30 minutes for this event, and then it's like, woo woo, tiny little candle that goes nowhere. That's what we were waiting for? Come on. All right, what are we putting our chips on? Are we going red? Red or black? Everybody place your bets. Moving up a little bit. Okay. Yeah, that was definitely one of those news events that we waited 30 minutes for and then it did nothing. Oh, goodness. Now do we get to actually continue up? Now are we going to go? Jolt's job openings, the number came out higher than expected. All right. Coming back up to the top of this opening range, which is right at VWAP. So I'm leaning towards longs, but definitely don't want to take a long right here because that's 2 reasons to short. So still just going to stay patient, see what happens. A good situation would be if it breaks out and then comes back down and retests so we can enter a good long. Get a little bit of confirmation on it. That way, if it does reject from this area, I'm not entering early. How's gold doing, G-Man? Is it up? I think you said you were in a long earlier. Kind of chopping around a little bit. Hit that resistance that I had. All right, well, ES just shot straight up. It's hitting its overnight highs right now. Let's see if NQ does give us a little retest. Because ES came up and did that little liquidity grab or kind of hit the overnight highs, and NQ is starting to reject VWAP and the 15-minute opening range high, I'm not too excited about taking a long here. Actually going to enter a short. So based off of that, ES rejected the overnight highs. NQ having trouble getting up there. Let's see. Still kind of being choppy. No continuation either way. Maybe I should have taken a trade on ES. ES definitely has a nicer trend. I'm not giving it very much room on the stop loss. Basically have it at the 15-minute opening range high, because if it comes back up, then we'll probably get continuation up, and I don't want to be in the trade. Oh, goodness. This is what today's going to be like, huh? Choppy, choppy. Coming down to that New York anchored VWAP right now. This will tell us if we're going to continue down or if we're going to bounce there and go up. What's it going to be, NQ? ES came down and bounced at VWAP too, and is kind of holding above the top of the 15-minute opening range. I don't think NQ knows what the heck it wants to do. $50-50 could go either way. Yeah. It's just one of those days where there's no continuation either direction. I don't know if the rest of the day is going to be like this just because it's waiting for FOMC tomorrow, or if it's going to consolidate a little bit here and then there actually will be a move later today. All right. Yikes. Didn't even take me out yet. It's thinking about it. It's thinking about it. Still alive. $15-minute on ES looks pretty bullish. I bet if I move to NQ, it's just going to look like a barcode. No, not quite a barcode, but not much better. ES is coming back down to these VWAPs. Let's see if it breaks below those. That would be a good sign. But if it bounces here, that's not a good sign. Oh my gosh, you guys. I feel like I've said this like 3 days in a row now that I feel like I'm trading the Asia session. MB Trader, there's actually not a way to remove the delay on YouTube. There's not. There would always be some sort of delay. I've looked into it. That's actually why I started the Discord, because that is 100% like live. It doesn't have the YouTube delay. Come on, market, do something. We got a little flag type of thing going on here. Not really a clean trend line, but that's what it's looking like. Let's see where the low anchored VWAP is. It's right about where the New York anchored one is. Nothing different there. Asia session might have been better, to be honest. Yeah. NQ moved pretty well last night, actually. Gold was pretty choppy, at least while I was watching it last night, but NQ moved pretty well. ES is still kind of hovering around that VWAP area. Watching to see if it drops below it. All right, chat, what do you guys think? Is this going to be what the rest of the day looks like? Just waiting for FOMC tomorrow? Or is this kind of just a consolidation for a bigger move that's going to happen today? What do you guys think? Kind of wondering if this is what the bulk of today is going to look like until tomorrow afternoon, really. This is just gross. Verisat, you think I should just close it? That's your vote? Yeah, you guys, I feel like I'm live streaming Asia with you guys. I don't even have any levels or any like trade ideas to talk about because there's nothing happening. Oh. ES is still holding above that anchored VWAP. This thing might continue back up. I'll go ahead and close it. And now it dumps. That's annoying. So our initial balance is pretty dang close to the same thing as our 15-minute opening range. That's pretty funny. It's a sign, you guys. Maverick, you're probably right. Out of nowhere, it's going to start moving at like 1 p.m. Eastern time because no one's watching, no one's paying attention. You're up 10 cents. Green is green. Can't be upset about that. All right. Now we're starting to get some volume. Is it actually going to move up this time? Is she going to go? Let's see if NQ goes back up to the overnight highs just like it did with ES. Or is this going to be another fake out? What's the significance of the anchor VWAP versus the daily VWAP? It just anchors it from a new point of volume. So this just shows like since the New York opened, that's what the trading volume has showed. You can do the same thing from a high or a low. Coming back out down into the chop. This is just dumb. Ay, ay, ay. Verisat, you've only taken 2 trades? That actually says a lot. Because you normally take a lot. If this thing doesn't actually start moving soon or it hits my stop loss, I might be done trading. This is stupid price action. It's not giving us anything today. Waffles, I did not ask nicely. That's the problem today. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking it's waiting for tomorrow too. Doesn't seem like it's consolidating for a bigger move today. I don't get that feeling. So I'll just see how this trade plays out and then probably call it. I have the time and sales pulled up on my screen. I have it filtered to like bigger, higher volume orders, and nothing has come across since 10:13. So 27 minutes ago. That's not normal. Usually every couple minutes there's something in the beginning of the New York Open. Came up to initial balance high. Are we gonna break out and get some continuation? What's the plan, NQ? What are we doing? Fill me in. Heading into rollover. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. That's far enough off. I feel like this is more pre-FOMC chop. But yeah, towards the end of December, you'll have the whole like holiday slowdown plus rollover and all that. Not a great time to trade in my experience. Although, don't have a ton of experience. I've only traded one holiday. All right, broke out of initial balance high. Let's see if it actually continues up. Moving my stop loss a little bit up to the bottom of that 5-minute candle that just pushed up. That way it has a little bit of room to retrace, but reducing risk a little bit. Yeah, Maverick, that's probably a good call. Lock it up. All right. I think I'm gonna be done. Oh, ugly, ugly. All right, gang. I'm gonna call it there. At this point, it's just going back into the chop. And even if it does look like it's rejecting this initial balance high, there's plenty of levels down here that it could bounce at. I just think it's gonna stay choppy until tomorrow. And I don't want to be stuck in it. Come hang out in Discord if you guys are not in there already. There is a link in the description. And then I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Take care, everyone.